It says, you set on the food source or closer to bedding. How do you balance hunting food sources versus overlooked or untouched bedding?
Well, for me, it depends on how far away from the food source they're bedding. In a lot of cases, they're really in survival mode at this time of the year up here. It might be a little
Mm-hmm.
different by Josh. You're about probably 10 degrees warmer.
Mm-hmm.
But up here, they will bed as close to the food as they possibly can, where they still got safe bedding. So, like earlier in the year, they might bed a quarter mile from, to just get the perfect bedding spot. They might inch up a little closer this time of the year until they're bumped. So, a lot of times I am actually hunting right at the food source because that's also at the bedding source. So I'm trying. Sometimes it's really hard to get between them, between the food and the bedding, because of how close they bed. But that all changes once you educate them. That's why it's really important to um, watch them for a day or so before you move in for the kill, if you can. Because if you hit it wrong, if you're in the wrong tree or set up a little off and you didn't know what was going to happen, a lot of times it's over. But then
Yeah.
again, I've been in spots where I've had deer come in like on a consistent basis, and I've been able to hunt them over and over and over again. There's been a couple of scenarios. One scenario is I can get to the edge of where they're moving without crossing their trails, stay on the downwind side, and they never knew I was there. And the other scenario is I take a main trail that people use occasionally all year round, and deer are used to human scent on it, and I set up right on the trail. That's done real well for me. I've had the same bucks walk under me day after day when I've hunted like that. But if you get like 50, 60 yards off that trail, all of a sudden they're freaking out when they hit your scent trail.
Right. Yeah. I think this time of year, like your entrance and like if you want to have multiple sits at this location, like your exits are so important too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think a lot of people, you hear people all the time be like, yeah, I saw deer out in that field and they didn't show up when I was there. It's probably because they watched you walk in. If I had to guess, just this time of year, everything's so open. And like you said, they can be bumped closer to bedding closer to the food source. So there's a good chance they, uh, watch you walk in. And then on top of that, then you got to worry about getting down and not bumping all the deer.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, a lot of people will be like, that didn't bother them. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I don't think it bothers the does and maybe the small bucks, but I don't know how many times a mature buck will get bumped off of a field by a human and not think about it before he goes back into that field again during daylight.
Well, well, you make some good points, and now this last week, we just ended our yesterday ended our 9-day muzzleloader season, and I think during that 9 days I missed 2 days, so I hunted 7 days, and I got a couple cameras over by Dave's, and I've been getting pictures of several good bucks, and they've been pretty consistent, and they've been showing up in daylight sometimes, and just a few days ago, a really big buck that I was hunting early season showed back up that I thought was dead because it went by my neighbor with a bad wound, and then he
Mm-hmm.
shot it and didn't recover it.
Mm.
So it had 2 arrow holes through it. So I'm really happy that that thing survived because it was the biggest buck I was after over there. So anyways, generally I spread myself out really thin and I go all over the swamps and the islands and stuff at that time of the year, and I have a lot of action. But I really wanted to shoot. There's 3 bucks that I was really interested in shooting. They were showing up regularly enough that I wanted to. So I had a pretty bulletproof setup where I could come in on a south wind, and we had a lot of south winds. I could get away with, pretty much a straight west or any south wind. So I came in there and hunted it up against the fence line where I could go up the tree from the back side, and the deer really didn't come on my side of the fence. I guess they occasionally do, which I can say that because one day I got there and there's a brand new giant rub right underneath the tree that wasn't there the day before. But I hunted it uh, I don't know, 5 times, in a week,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
But one day I had 12 deer go past, and one day I had 7, but I can say that by the end of that 5 or 6 days, I had less deer, and I did have the last day that I hunted there, I had a 6-pointer come out that I had seen a couple times, and it came out of the woods at 100 yards, and I'm nestled in a little hole where you cannot see me. A person wouldn't even see me up there except for the orange.
Yeah.
And that deer came out at 100 yards, peeked its head out, and looked directly at me, and I'm like, oh, it can't be looking at me. And then it came out a little ways and went up to this tree about 50 yards away and peeked around the tree to see if I was in there, and was staring directly up at me. That deer obviously had figured out exactly where I was.
Right.
And that's the trouble with that. But I did have a pretty bulletproof setup. And I still think that it wasn't that bad of an idea, even though the small ones figured me out. But I had a lot of fawns going through, doe fawns, and the bucks were coming there because of the doe fawns. The doe fawns were coming out of a doe bedding area and heading to some cut corn. So the bucks were following them. That's what I was getting on camera and stuff. And actually, I got some pretty cool views of smaller bucks I didn't want to shoot, chasing does around, grunting and stuff. But if that one of them big bucks came through, I still don't think it would have known I'm there. But by spooking the fawns away, I was defeating the purpose, because once the fawns are gone, then
Right.
then I don't have the bait.
Hey everybody, if you like the channel, make sure you subscribe right here. And if you like the clips, I got 2 more options for you. 2 options right here. Subscribe right here. See you guys.